Hello Fly Nation and welcome to the Freestyle Your Life podcast, the one and only podcast inspiring you to live your authentic greatness while teaching you that less is more. I'm your host, Aneste Zimmermann, and I'm on my mission to help you to be the hero you were meant to be and to live what you came for in life and in business. Remember, the quest we came here for is to discover our true nature, explore our potential and share it by living. Hello Fly Nation, welcome to the Freestyle Your Life podcast, your number one channel to catch free, valuable and consistent content on how to freestyle your life and business to consume on the go. My mission is to inspire you to live authentically on your own terms and learn about self-mastery. Listen in to today's episode number 29 with my friend JP McAvoy when we explore how to thrive personally and in business. He's the host of the Millionaire Lawyer podcast and a business consultant and lawyer. We learn amazing insights about disrupting when he was working with Elon Musk at Silicon Valley startup. Let's jump right into it. For my dear listeners in Fly Nation, we have met in Tampa in February and we had a lovely golf play on a really nice GPA tournament.
That's right. They played the Valspar Championship. It was played 2 weeks after we were there. So we were there at a very nice time to play the course.
And we had the privilege to be on one of the courts, right? So, but this was quite difficult. So you're a much better player, Jake.
You're too kind.
It was so much fun. I totally enjoyed it to play there with Barbara, right?
Yes, with Barbara, yeah. No, I had a wonderful time as well. And it was nice to get to know you there. And of course, now we get to carry on this way as well.
Yes. So this is JP today on the line. He's from Canada, from Ottawa. And we saw each other and just sort of fell in love, right? Because
absolutely.
It's just such a brilliant synergy. And you are working with conduct law. So you're a lawyer, but you're not only working on the lawyer items and contracts, but you are also taking a lot from the entrepreneurs you have as clients to do in their name, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
That's what I learned in preparation.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of digging deeper than just doing a contract, right? So when we have been on the golf course, actually, you were on the phone, on the laptop, everywhere, nearly not able to. I couldn't have played any ball working like that on the other side. Just let me take this here off. And but you were so busy to work and to play golf and everything. It was just fantastic.
That's the way it goes. Because the reality is you can work from anywhere. And as you say, I'm a corporate commercial lawyer, so I do traditional business law. But the business is changing. You know, the speed of business and the way it's being done is changing. You and I are meeting right now. You meet with people all over the world that are looking to do different business. And so in my legal practice, I'm able to support those type of entrepreneurs. And that's what I like to do.
Yes, and I would love to jump in and to explore more about your work you did in the startup with Elon Musk. That's fascinating.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can
absolutely.
you share more of that?
Yes, I mean, Elon was a classmate, he and his brother, and as we were graduating from university, they were looking. I was off to law school, and they were looking for ways to start to do business, and they were having trouble getting it going originally. And tried to start it in Toronto, Canada, and not having much success. They headed down to California, and from there, it was just good timing and the right things that they were doing. They were able to get it funded, and they invited me to come down and join them, help grow the business. And that first business in particular was grown and sold for, at the time, it was sold for $307 million US, which was the largest all cash interdeal of its time. Yeah. So that was the first big success. And of course they went on to create SpaceX and Tesla and all the other things they've done since. So yeah, absolutely. And from them, classmates originally, but we did a lot of learning together, what it takes to create a successful company, build it from the ground up, bootstrap it originally, build it up and get it funded so it can really take off. And that's a real secret that I've been helping clients do since.
Yeah, that's so fantastic, because my clients here are mostly entrepreneurs like we are, right? So this is what I have been most of my life. I mean, I did study economics, and then I was key account in two companies, but the one was in Switzerland and one was in Hamburg, which is all the way up in the north, and I'm in the south of Germany here, like being in Frankfurt. And so I was always in the home office. I never was with 9 to 5 and coming and going. I was always my own boss here, right? So maybe 3 or 4 times we had to go into the company for marketing meeting or whatever. But all the other time, I was totally in my office at my home, and that's what I'm used, right? So it felt right after coming out from studying, it felt like really being an entrepreneur, because there was no coming and going. You've been totally responsible for everything, like I am with my 2 companies here, and that's really what I am, right? So.
And that's the way it works. I found that there's 2 things I found from an entrepreneur that's been successful. One is that, as you say, they don't have somebody that they're reporting to. They don't have a lot of other resources they can draw upon. They look to their advisors and their coaches and people that can help guide them, because they are the boss. So it's a different mindset when you're actually the boss. When you're the entrepreneur, you may have employees or contractors that come up and ask you the questions, but no one's ever telling you what to do. You have to decide. You've got to be that energy. So you're looking for trusted advisors to help guide you or allow you to make the types of decisions that you need to do in order to bring a company forward. And the second thing is you need to be able to work independently, as you say, from anywhere at any time, because an entrepreneur is not like an employee where they're punching a clock, they're working 9 to 5. An entrepreneur is always working. There's times where they're thinking about things. There's, it might be a late night thing, or it might be on the golf course like you and I. You figure out how to get it done, when you can get it done to move the business forward. And that's a key to success. And any good entrepreneur learns that and then actually does just that.
Yeah, but JP, the thing is that if you look up to studies or whatever, it shows up that most of us small entrepreneurs, right? We are almost like Kiyosaki has this quadrants. We are like employees most of the case, right? So we are working hours, right? So the work never stops here, right? So I could work till I'm falling over, right? So this is just how it goes in our job. So we need a lot of self-discipline, of course, to get things done. So today I had to do taxes for the first quarter of the year, and I hate that. So I don't do the accounting myself as I could, as I did study that, but it's not my thing. It's killing me. So I'm just fixing all the papers and send it to my tax advisor. So, but that sucks for me. So what I came to my transformation is that everyone should find out, right, what we love to do, what we are good at, and improve that and do more of that, right? So the things I'm not good at is taxes, mathematics, and technical stuff here. I just don't like it. I love to be with people, right? I'm good at that, but on the dry stuff there, I don't like it, right? So what I came to the conclusion is just to outsource those things. I'm really sucking at it, and I'm not doing myself any favor to do it and force myself to do it because I have to. And just to outsource it, or the technical thing, right? You have a podcast yourself, you know what this is, because the listeners just hear us talking, but it's such a lot to do in the background, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to do that, and I would add to
bringing it up, and oh my gosh, right? And it's a real big deal, and So I have my technical assistant, Luis. I have him doing the technical stuff, right? So I'm doing all the interviews, everything with people. I'm great at that. And all the technical stuff, sitting in the office here and editing and cutting all the things and putting the music and everything, that's his result.
That's right. That's what he's good at. And so it's economies of scale. It's using people who are skilled at doing the things that they're best at, so that you can focus on the things that you're best at. I'm a corporate lawyer. I'm the exact same thing. My hourly rate's $350 an hour. So when I'm working on a file, that's what I'm getting paid for. Anything I'm doing other than that is really not time well spent, right? So as you say, if I'm editing a show or putting things together, it's not best use of my time. I need to be focused on client matters, things that are billable, to the extent that it's possible. And if not, not concentrating or not doing the things like editing, things like that really are not my skill set in any event. So I'm very conscious about where I spend my time and making sure I leverage those around me. Assemble a good team of people around me that can do things, even as you say, production of the podcast. Really important to do that. So I'm not spending any more time on it than I actually need to.
Yeah, you even have your assistant doing the bookings, right?
That's right. Yeah, you saw that.
I saw that. Yes, I'm still doing this myself, but I'm on the go to automate it. But I found Equity, which is the booking tool here, the paid version. The one I have, I just love it, right? Because I tried other versions, and you can book me and everything, and it does just. I couldn't automate the system, right? What I need from the buyer and what you want to have in the show notes and all this stuff I need to know, right? And before I had the booking version there, but I couldn't automate it, right? So I couldn't fix it for myself. So everything I need to know for preparation and everything, I couldn't put it in the application form. And now I just changed directly to this other form. No matter, it's much more expensive, but it's totally worth it, because the time I need to, or my assistant, which I also have to pay, right, to run after clients to bring their bio and their photo and this and that. This is incredible, right? So I've done 45 interviews in a row since we.
Wow, yeah.
So this is 3 to 4 interviews a day, right? For 3 days in a row. And I still have another business. I have a real estate business also, because I had this for 20 years. And so I really need to focus and put my time wisely. I cannot play around here. I do my work very focused. I automate the things I don't like, I outsource. And then in the middle of the day, when my energy is dropping, I just go for 9 holes to go golfing, and then I come back and I'm refreshed. That's how I do it.
Good. Yeah, and you figured out what works best for you, right? Or the best way of getting things organized. And certainly, as you say, Acuity I'm using as well. And for me, there's a cost to using it. But as you say, you've got to weigh that cost against what it costs me to pay my assistant. To do similar organization. And overall, it makes more sense to actually have a paid software as well that's going to assist with things such as scheduling. And as you say, all the administrative roles that need to be, they're important to make sure that they get done as well, to put the best product forward and make best use of your time. So I do the exact same thing on my end of things.
Yeah, it's just necessary, because otherwise I need your photograph, I need your bio, right, to put it in the show notes. I mean, we met each other, but I didn't meet everybody of my guests and experts, right? So I need all this stuff in preparation to have it at one place together. If I want to look it up somewhere, that's not possible with the amount I'm doing here, right? And so let's go back to Elon. So you have been in school with both of them?
Yes. Yeah. So I went to school with them originally. Well, I guess I shouldn't say originally. I graduated with Kimball, Elon's brother. Elon did 2 years at my university. Then he went on to University of Pennsylvania. He went to Wharton to finish his business schooling.
Are they same age, JP?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Same age. Yep. Or I mean, there's a year. They're a year apart, and I'm the same age as Kimball, his younger brother.
Only one age apart. Okay.
Yeah. So no, we all went to school together, and then it's interesting. Just out of school, as they say, I carried on to law school, and they were looking to start a company. And the first company, they found a problem. They were actually trying to just order a pizza online. Is all they were trying to do, and realized that things at that time were not well enough organized in order to do this. This was early internet, the first company.
Yeah.
And Elon is absolutely brilliant. He looked at this and said, there's got to be a better way. And he did just that. He figured out a better way of doing it and built a company around it. And we built that company up, and it went on to disrupt the newspaper industry. We know newspapers have changed an awful lot as well.
Yeah.
Because we looked at that and we said, well, they're not doing things the right way, and they're going to be replaced if they're not careful. So we helped them get up, and then right through auto guides. And it's just carried on, because that type of thinking, that disruptive thinking, is what really successful entrepreneurs I've seen, like Elon and others that I work with, are always doing. They're always looking at the way things are being done and thinking to themselves, is there a better way, right? And Elon's gone to do that with electric cars, right? He's got Tesla now. He's done the exact same thing with space flight, space travel with SpaceX. He's done the same thing for solar, right, with Solar City. So he looks at industries and he looks at how they can be disrupted to actually grow better and bring value to people. And ultimately, that's what creates value for corporations and businesses. And that's what he's been doing throughout.
So how many time do we talk? About 20 years from that?
Over the course of the last 20 years. That's right. Over the course of the last 20 years. So we worked on the first one. It's going on 20 years now where we formed the first one. The first company, for those not familiar, was an online guide. It was purchased by, at the time, it was Compaq Computers. It's now HP, and was really merged with another company to form Alta Vista, which is one of the first big 5 search engines, if you recall back to those times. HP, or Compaq, as it then was, didn't do much with it. They could have, because you see other comparables like Yahoo, for example, were taken public and made billions of dollars. That company was sold, and the money from that company is interesting. Again, watching a mind like Elon, he walked into my office as we were in the process of selling that company, and he said, "What do you think of a website called X.com?" And I sort of laughed, and I said, well, it kind of sounds like a porn site to me, right? Is what it sounded like. And he said it was going to be an online bank. Again, I thought, an online bank, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But again, he was disrupting. That online bank is now PayPal, right? So among other things, he started PayPal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he started X.com, and it, of course, became PayPal, and he sold that to eBay for $1.5 billion. He made $150 million US at the time he sold that company, because he looked at the industry and said, there's a better way. People are going to be banking online. At the time, nobody was, but he saw the future, and he said, this is what's going to happen. People didn't listen to him at first, but he disrupted the industry, right? That's how he created that value. He disrupted the industry, created an online bank, and now PayPal is a household name, right? He then went from there. He poured all his money into Tesla. The exact same thing. Now these are household names, but at the time, people are saying, you're going to do what? You can't take on the car companies. That doesn't make any sense. Well, he did. He disrupted the industry. Now we've got electric cars. He did the exact same thing with space flight, space travel, SpaceX. It's the exact same thing. He looked at NASA and he said, these guys are sending things up and they're using technology. Or, we went to the moon in the 60s with technology that's less than you have on your iPhone right now. We can do the exact same thing, and we can commercialize all this. And he did the exact same thing, disrupted that. And now it's a private company, SpaceX, but it's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, but JP, I consider that so fascinating, right? So this has several parts inside, right? So he's good in exploring trends, in seeing trends,
absolutely,
right? What will be coming, and is he a programmer or is he?
Oh yeah, self-taught though. So Elon, he would sit down. I was working with him. We do things like we went into a chain of newspapers at the time. I won't say which one, but we went into a chain of newspapers and we said, you have to change everything you're doing. You're going to be replaced by the online industry. And they said, well, they said at this time, can you do an online auto guide? So they had all their classifieds, all their vehicles online, in print, and they wanted it online. We didn't have anything like that at the time, but Elon said, of course we can do that. Yes, we have that. And so what he did is he stayed and worked through the weekend. I remember he would just constantly sleep under his desk at the office. Constantly. I lived with him. When I was in California, I lived with him. He wouldn't come home half the time because he'd be staying at the office working on something. So on a Friday, we promised a newspaper, a chain of newspapers, an online auto guide, which we didn't have, right? And he stayed and worked through the weekend, sleeping under his desk 24/7 around the clock through the weekend. And on Monday, we had a product that we could take back to the newspaper. That's just the way he did things. All self-taught, putting it together, understanding, because he was inventing a lot of this as well, but creating what needed to be done because somebody saw a need for it. And he said, we can deliver. And we did.
Yeah, but this is really, I love this story. This is really what is needed, right? So not to disrupt ourselves by going out or having fun, but well, if it's time to work, it's time to work, right? So we pushed ourselves on our chair to get the podcast done, right? This is not done on the go. This is just, yeah. And now after 45 interviews, for me, it's just fun, right? Because I know all these things, how everything is going. But the first interviews, this camera, because I always take video also for my online summit coming in summer. So this is the next thing, the next project, which already started because of the launch. So all this camera up there and the computer up there, this is for the summit. And this and my laptop here is for the podcast. So because I want you, with being short of time, right? Because you're very successful, I want to gift you with showing up once, but being featured twice on the podcast and on the online summit, right? And that's just how it goes, because time is the most it's priceless, right?
That's right. It's a commodity. Time's a commodity, and you're being very smart for making sure you're leveraging time. I do just the same thing. Like, how long did it take us to even get this time booked, right? We went back and forth trying to find a time where we can both be available for it. And as you say, so then to make the most of our time, have it recorded, and we're both very smart in the way that we think about the use of our time. So have it recorded and then leverage it in a couple of different ways, right? You've got it recorded, we've got audio. So you can take this and work it into the agenda that you have to make sure others are hearing it, right? Others are benefiting from our collective wisdom. That's part of the goal of this, making sure that we share with others so they can understand the way that successful entrepreneurs are doing it.
Yeah, because you get more reach, right? More impact with the wonderful work you do there, and that's just compassionate. Working together. And anyway, we have the joint venture right on the legal packs still on the list here. But I was never with other business owners in a competition, right? I don't see myself in a competition. No. Yeah, of course, there are other people doing a podcast, but nobody will do it like me and not with my history, right? What I have lived. I'm walking the talk here. That's why I want the speakers to share their life stories, right? So how did they come there, or the story you are living with Elon Musk? It's just that's mind blowing, right? And point it out in examples so the listeners really can dig deep, can feel into it, and can remember it, right? Because everybody has done so many courses and weekend courses and read a book, and that's everything great. I've been doing that too, right? But real transformation is not just like that. Right?
Yeah, real transformation, as you say, is something that's come about because somebody's been very focused and disciplined in thinking about what needs to transpire, and then they've taken the steps to make sure that it actually does occur. As you say, a lot of the most successful things that have been created are done very intentionally. You know, someone like Elon, he's created a company, he's looked at something and he said, this is something that has to change. This is something that has to transform, in your words. How does that what can I do in order to bring that transformation about? And then in very concrete terms, putting it in place and working with advisors, working with a team of people to bring it to fruition. That's what happens. There's a lot of people that talk about doing things, and then there's those that actually put them into place. And those are the type of people like Elon that do that. And the type of people that I work with, the clients that I work with, where they say, this is what I have. This is the goal I have in mind. And I say, great, how are we going to get there? Let's pick a time. As you say, launching a podcast is a great example. This doesn't just happen, right? You've got to put things together. You've got to plan it, and then it becomes something, right? And it grows from there. And you've done the exact same thing very intentionally, right? And look at the type of people you've been able to attract. You've got me. You've had some wonderful people on your show already. So the people you've been able to attract is because of your vision, right? Your discipline and putting those concrete steps into place. So you're putting your words into practice, and the podcast is a prime example of it.
Yeah, and we can't do it on alone, right? So I'm a big fan of really sharing and giving and working together, right? So like with Elon, right? He couldn't have done it on his own without you being the background of the advising part there and the contracts and everything. And I couldn't do it without my assistant or without great guests, right?
That's absolutely just it. And good people attract good people, right? And they have a vision and they support each other to bring it forward. As you say, even studying the podcast again as an example, bringing good people together, both your technical team and the people that are helping you from an administrative point of view, and then also the guests that you've attracted just by virtue of you. You're a very radiant person. We had a great time on the golf course, but then throughout the time we spent together, and I think we do the same thing where we attract radiant people ourselves into our own lives, and as a consequence of that, we're all better. I like what you talk about, how it's not like a competition. There's plenty available for everybody. If you put it out the right way, everybody will win. I like building things as a win-win-win, because that's exactly what occurs if you put it out the right way.
Right. And that's why I brought up the Fly winner to have my listeners out there to win, and the experts, everybody is giving something. So it's just fun. It's just really great. But if you look at the time, so we've been there on the 18th. I just know it because it just was 1 month, 1.5, less than 1.5 months. And I've been on the run since I came
ever since,
with the 45 interviews. And originally I had in mind to air once on Thursdays, once a week. But then I did all the bookings, and I ended up next year with once in a week, right? Because of all the that applied. And I say, oh my God, that was a luxury problem. Having nobody to speak on the pod would be worse, of course, right? So, but I still didn't want to delay the people with the interview being recorded now, but airing next year. So because the distance is just so long. And then I said, what about airing twice, doing Tuesday and Thursday, right? But I still have my other business here, and being a single mom and having the dog and whatever we have to do. So, but then I decided to that, and I'm still till end of September, 28th of September. I'm just looking at my content planner there, booked out, and I'm airing twice.
Wow.
So this would have been till end of February if I wouldn't have taken the second day. So it's really fun. I just love it. And I'm doing what I'm good at and what I love to do, and all the rest I skip and outsource. And I think this is the real key to becoming even more successful, right? To like Elon, he has the visioning of trends, seeing trends, right? And we see what happened to the companies that didn't, right?
That's just it. Exactly the opposite of the companies that don't.
And so many technical things, or Apple just moved ahead, right? All the others, big players at that time, but they just didn't see the trend and didn't believe in it and didn't invest in it, right?
Yeah,
and
that's just it.
Everything changes. Now we have the Apple podcast in the car, for example, right? And maybe in 10 years from now, cars are driving on their own, right? We all have electromobiles, whatever. I don't know. Not everybody can see this, but we need those people because they bring really new technology.
Yes, bring the new technology, and as you say, they're the ones that are, the visionaries are the ones that are taking us into the future. And those who aren't visionaries are the ones that suffer as a consequence. As you were talking, it reminded me of a company like Blockbuster. Think about Blockbuster; it doesn't even exist. And if they had have been open to some of the changes, they'd be the Netflix, right? They had every opportunity to be Netflix. Blockbuster did, but they didn't actually believe that things were going to change. They stayed rooted in the things that they had been doing without an eye to the future. And as a consequence, Blockbuster is now bust, right? And now we have Netflix because they were thinking about the new way that things are going to be done. And so we need to be constantly doing that in our own business as well, constantly thinking about how things are going to change. And an example of that is the fact, like I said earlier, you and I are doing business right now. The world is getting smaller and smaller. People can connect all over the world at any time to achieve their business goals. And so you need to be sensitive to that. And if you're trying to do things the old fashioned way by fax and telephone, it's simply not enough any longer. You need to make sure that you're ready to do business at the speed at which it's now traveling and work with people from anywhere to build together whatever the future for your respective business looks like.
Right. And so you are in Canada, you are in Ottawa up there. And I need to come to Canada very soon because my son, who is in Vancouver, he's in Whistler, because he loves to ski so much. But he just had his 1 year passed, and I thought he would be coming home, but no, he isn't. He likes Canada so much, so he wants to stay there.
It's our gain. It's our gain here. Yes, absolutely. I can appreciate why.
The people are so cool, and what I got to experience, I totally agree with that. And people are just chilled and taking it easy, and that's so cool. So yesterday I had two really amazing entrepreneurs here. One is Alan Knight. He has a training company. He's from Vancouver, and Stephen Sashin. He's from Zero Shoes. And he made the shoes really. They are not. You feel like being barefoot. They are they're flexible and everything, and it's just fantastic. And they love what they do because they're booked in. I didn't force them. They booked in both for Easter Monday holiday, right? They could have shared it with their family or doing whatever, right? That's a sort of energy and it didn't feel like a heavy job to be on air yesterday. Otherwise, they wouldn't book in.
Yeah, because they're doing what they love to do, right? Huh? Yeah, they're doing what they love to do, and that's another principle of new business is the fact that you do what you love and understand that your personal and business life are going to meld. Right? There's going to be times where you're working on things, and it's got to be seamless, so you can go back and forth between business and personal. So do it from a place you love and be flexible to have personal time and business time, because the way of the future is that you're doing business at any time, anywhere. So make sure that you get allotted some time for your business and, of course, some time for your personal life as well.
Yeah, I always love to give really tips and takeaways, right? So ideas are how my listeners could think of things different, and how could we act or move or whatever the duty just is to improve things, right? Like Elon does. And the other thing is how, like you're doing your business mostly in the name of your clients, right? But not just doing the normal contracts, but acting for them.
Yeah.
That's a different field also, right? So I always look to be the exception, right? I don't want to follow the mass, but that's just my identity, right? So what I'm doing here, I love to travel, right? And I'm here in Germany, you're in Ottawa at the moment, and we still got to being like hugged and feel each other. And yeah, but that's wonderful technology. Why we shouldn't use it, right? That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
you're as near, even nearer than my neighbor over there, right?
That's just it, right? The world is smaller and smaller. As you and I were discussing earlier, I was on a golf course and I closed a real estate transaction, right? So by the power of the technology, things like real estate transactions are occurring. Businesses are changing hands from all over the world at all times now by virtue of the technology. You can be anywhere. And you say the technology brings us all closer together. You and I, as you say, I think that's perfectly put. You and I are closer together right now than your neighbors are and my neighbors are to me, right? Because we're actually connected right now by virtue of the technology.
Right. And what I didn't like at the real estate, it was a full service agency, was that my flats and my houses, of course, are located around here in Frankfurt, Rhine-Main area, around the airport, sort of. And this keeps me stuck here. But I want to travel, right? So I told myself, no, I don't want to be stuck in one place. So the first thing I did was to give up my office in the next big town. I had an office there so the clients could come and everything. And I paid a lot, and in the city there is no parking space here, so you need a parking lot to rent there. It's a big deal. And I said, why am I doing this? So I stopped that because I don't want my clients come to the door. Right? They can reach me on phone or on social media or on email. There's no need that they come to the door, right? Because anyway, I have to go to see them to have a look at the real estate they have. That it doesn't make no sense. They come to me. I have to go there, right? To make the contract. And so I said, it's completely crazy what I'm doing. It's just not the need anymore. Business has changed, and I'm adapting myself to the changes that are. And my vision was to have my business in my laptop. So whenever I go to Tampa, I travel a lot to the Caribbean because I love it there, and I have my girlfriends living there. And I just take my laptop like I did in Tampa, and we both of us worked there in between, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's just the way it's going as well. I think the exact same scenarios occurred in the legal industry. I was partner at a big law firm. We occupied space downtown, and I found that about half of my billings were going to pay for this very, very nice space, but the clients didn't even want to come see it. They would have to come down, fight with parking, drag themselves up to the 26th floor of a building, and sit in a lobby, and then finally be shuffled into a fancy boardroom. And they were saying to themselves, it's taken me an hour to get here, cost me $35, and the reality is we could have done this all by telephone, or by Skype. And so that's the way the business has evolved. I've now got a number of different offices that are more easy to see or be to visit somebody from. But for the most part, we just do this now by Skype or Zoom, right? To make sure that we're just talking to each other the way we're talking right now, communicating what needs to be done, and then sending stuff back by email, back and forth by email and scan. That's what's happening with business now. I've done the exact same thing. I've got an office in Orlando. So subsequent to our meeting, I've established an office in Orlando. It's all this the exact same way. Another law firm there wanted to have a Canadian presence. I wanted to increase my U.S. presence. So we said, let's do the exact same thing. The reality is most of the time we're going to be doing it by Skype or Zoom in any event. And then when we need to see somebody, we'll book time in the boardroom just to actually sit down if we actually physically need to be together, which is very rare now. For the most part, people don't want to sit in a boardroom. Let's say if we have to meet, we can meet in the airport or we can meet on the golf course. I'd rather see you there. And that's what I've been doing since.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. And I think that's really the trend, because driving hours to see each other, what for, right? So we are even closer like that. And I love to be flexible. And I think the companies, speaking of real estate, because I, of course, know the market really good, and they have big chains, right? Engel Völkers and big real estate chains. And they still have at the first place in the big cities their office, right? But this is more or less fake play, right? It's just to show.
Yeah, it's about show, as you say it. It's very expensive, and that that's reflected in the pricing as well, right? So you have to charge for that space because it's a business. So yeah, the show. And I think a lot of people are sort of put off by the show now. They realize I don't want to pay for this. I don't want this to be reflected in the pricing that I'm being charged for your services. So let's just put away with the pomp and circumstance and do what makes the most practical sense, right? And that's what people are now doing.
Right, and that's really what is needed and what people like, right? Because as a real estate agent, you should not overdress, but you should not underdress, right? That's the same as in the banking and lawyer area, right? So there is a sort of dress code and whatever. So I don't have this anymore. I just can wear whatever I love, and that feels just like freedom, right? Because before, of course, I need to dress up much more and not in colors, and you know what I mean. So this is if you come with a big Mercedes or a Porsche, right? The people they always have in mind, but I'm paying the Porsche, right, with the provision, and you shouldn't come on a bike, right? But there is a balance in between.
Yeah, there is absolutely just the right medium, right? Thinking about it, and that's again, we're going back to what I said before, being aware or conscious about what it reflects, and make sure you're sending out the right message.
Yeah. That's just perfect. So we are nearly at the end, JP, already. Did we cover everything? Do you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you. I think we covered, as always, we have wonderful conversations and we both put great energy out there. And that's an important thing for entrepreneurs, right? To make sure they're doing the same thing and working with a team. For myself, I do a lot of work as the lawyer behind the scenes as well. So that's maybe one thing to address as well. A lot of people are carrying on business, but the question is, are they carrying it on in the best way possible or the best way they should be? So I do a lot of work with clients to look at where their business is right now, think about how it could be disrupted or, disrupting it in a positive way for future growth, and make sure there's a structure in place for that. Really, really important. So people can look at where they're at right now. We can assess where they're at right now if they wish that assessment to occur, and then give some thought to the future. Of what the future of that looks like. So the business itself is structured, if it's incorporated, structured with the right share structure to allow for the growth that we're hoping is going to occur for it. And so that's a lot of what we do. I blend traditional law and this idea of disruptive law, or a way of thinking about how things are going to be changed from the future. And that's what my clients enjoy doing with me. And I take them through a process to do just that with their business. So of course I can do that for anybody that is listening in on your podcast and has a view to saying, I want to carry on business anywhere in the world, but especially in North America. So I've got clients in the US and Canada, and a lot of clients in Asia as well, and some Europe. So it's really a question of the same principles applying in whatever jurisdiction the business is based, but also thinking about how it is to be doing business given the new paradigm and the new shift we're talking about right now, right? Where the world's getting smaller. So to make sure that we're prepared for being able to do business in all areas where we might want to do business.
Right. And as you just shared, clients mustn't be just around your city there in Ottawa area, but they can be everywhere, as the way we are both working. Place and city and everything doesn't matter, right? So that's we're using technology to benefit the thing, right?
That's just it. That's how things are changing now, right? With the benefit of technology, we're able to do business anywhere. We're able to collaborate with whomever we wish.
Yeah.
So good people tend to find each other, like you and I have, and together they're able to assist each other and the people that they work with as part of the teams, or they the common clients that they end up working with, so that everybody, going back to what we said before, ends up with a win. It's a win-win-win for the client, for the advisors, and the clients, the people that are actually ultimately being serviced by the businesses that we're helping create.
Yeah, that's a great last word before wrapping it up. So I will mention everything in the show notes, so the community, the Fly Nation, can find you, JP. And well, that's for now. I think we covered as much as we could in the short amount. We could talk for days, for weeks even, but we cannot cover everything in nearly 1 hour. But I think we gave some really good takeaways on what should be considered, right, in this area, and on envisioning what's coming next, right? What I never called it disrupt, but I love it, because that's what it is.
It's changed the way things are done. That's right.
From going always the same pattern, the same way, and just well, I call it freestyling, right? Get free from all these automatic things and being led by autopilot, and even don't realize it, and free yourself up from things that are obviously not good for you, and turn things around, right? And figure out what do you love, what is great for you, what works, and do more of that. And for the rest, hire people or outsource it. That's key.
It's wonderful thinking. Thank you for having me on today. I think, as you say, we covered a lot of great things. To hear more about me, of course, go to jpmcavoy.com. I know you'll have that in the show notes, or the law firm, conoclaw.com. And as you say, I love the freestyling. I think the reality is we all need to be focused on the things that you're teaching and you're sharing with your listeners. If we freestyle, right, we do the things that we love, everybody's going to be better. Everybody around us is going to be better, and the world will be better too. And I think that's what that is what you're showing to everybody. And you did that from the first time that you hit that first golf ball on the golf course in Florida.
Yeah, lovely. I still love it. We're gonna play again soon. So you please stay for a moment, so we could talk about the joint venture there. So I just let my community out here. So Fly Nation, thanks for tuning in today, and I hope you had the same fun that I had, and the same inspiration on how we can do things differently, how we can interrupt and disrupt old chains and old ways we are doing things, and be innovative and envision, follow our vision, and come to the place where we do what we love. So if you're doing this mostly already, that is just great. So welcome, shake hands. And if you're finding out for yourself, well, I'm still doing too many things. I'm doing because I think I need to fit the role play, and you're on the fake play there. Maybe you consider to do things differently and just start with something. It's a journey, right? Of course, if you're doing new things, there might be fear coming up, or it might not work out. But if it doesn't work so great right now, so where's the difference, right? Going on with something that isn't satisfying too much or fulfilling, or trying to do something different, see how it goes, and, well, stay with it or cancel it and try something else, or return to the old way. That's all possible. But if we don't try, and if we don't open up ourselves to new ideas and transforming, well, there is a, I don't know if I can say it in English, there's a saying, if you don't go with the time, you will go by the time. You will be gone by the time, right? How is it in English? You can say it better.
I don't know. Yeah. So stay with the times, or you'll be passed by the times. You'll be passed by. Yeah. Stay with the time, or you'll be passed by. I think, I don't know if there's an exact translation, but that's the idea I think you're trying to express.
Yeah.
I think it's wise. I think it's very true.
It's the meaning of it. You get the meaning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you don't, I mean, it's all said. So if you, we did cover this with just the electronic companies or Blockbuster, or so many examples. If we in our small business, and even the big businesses don't do much better, right? If we don't take creative time, but force ourselves with email and whatever things there, as you say, $350 an hour. Yeah, that there's no relation to do email stuff, right? For you or me.
Yeah, that's just it, right? Yeah, and how much time you want to be spending doing those things as well, right? So yeah, because I just had Corey on the call talking about his new book, The Why and the How, and he interviewed almost 5,000 really highly successful people, and they only do what moves the needle best for them. Yes, that's very important.
Up forest, they have no idea to do emails or whatever things, right? Yeah. Everything must be done, of course, but think it over if it has to be you, and wisely don't do it in the morning at the first step, right? Because you keep on reacting on other people's agenda. Right?
Yeah.
Emails in the morning.
Yep.
Right. So really, I think we inspired you to think of doing things differently. That's good. Turning authentic. My mission is to bring mankind to authenticity. So I'm working on that, and we are almost on the same path, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I look forward to listening, and of course, feel free to include me in the future projects as well.
Yeah, I will make sure you stay a second. So, okay. Fly Nation, thanks for tuning in. And I could talk with JP forever. We just like each other so much, and we are, on inspiring and new ideas, right? So, have a lovely day and goodbye. Hello Fly Nation, thanks for listening in today to this awesome episode number 29 with JP McAvoy, inspiring us to disrupt patterns and to get ready for change. Every entrepreneur knows that being in the business 24/7, we are likely to rush into burnout and kill ourselves. We explored the importance of outsourcing, automating, and leveraging. By pointing out the necessity to explore new trends and needs and visionary disrupting, we are protecting our replacement. Please share the Fly podcast with your friends who might also profit from the great tips. And don't forget to subscribe to be sure to catch your next success story with the next amazing speaker. Please rate and review either on freestyleyourlifepodcast.com or on the Freestyle Your Life podcast channel on iTunes. You can always find all tips, takeaways, and links in the show notes description on freestyleyourlifepodcast.com. Have a great day and go for your dreams. Remember, Fly Nation, break free and fly. Talk to you on the next episode. Bye.